welcome back to the channel. And I am out in the Boxster again because the sun is out and the top is down. I can barely see anything. There's greenish film. I've just squirted screen wash into my face. But welcome. Thank you to everybody who's subscribed, who's who's commented. I really appreciate it, and it keeps me motivated to keep going and producing more stuff. It's just nice to have contact with like-minded people and be able to have a forum where you're kind of communicating with those people very easily. And recently on the podcast, the Porsche podcast, which went out just the other day, Mark and I were just commenting on how we sometimes prefer that forum because you don't have to get the camera out, you don't have to then get in the car, you don't have to find a place or a venue or an occasion to do a video, and then you don't have to do so much of the editing and put it out. With the podcast, we literally, or Mark mostly does it, top and tail, chop the beds off, preamble off, and just make it live. And I think that kind of works. So really love that. And on the subject of the Porsche Talk podcast, we have now identified the watch winner, and it was Jason997, who's also on Instagram, and we didn't put the two together, but luckily he messaged Mark, and we are now allocating that. It's going to get posted and it'll be with him within a few days. Well, actually he's in the UK and Mark is posting it from Australia, so it'll probably take about a week. But anyway, the next prize has been unveiled on the Porsche Talk podcast, and it is the large Porsche official merchandise mug, coffee mug, tea mug, whatever you want to call it, hot chocolate mug, and it's the one with the gold band. It's in the box, hasn't been used, so that's the next one. And again, the rules are exactly the same. If you've listened to the podcast, leave an iTunes review and then just message me or Mark. Well, me actually on this occasion, because I'm the one with the mug. And then on the next podcast, if there's enough of them, we go over the recent reviews, and then we decide who of those people is going to get the mug, and then we just work out who that is and we post it. Also, the more I drive this car, the more I feel it's like jiggling about. It's a bit weird. But anyway, the other thing that I was going to say, do you know what? At the moment, I feel such lethargy, and I know I said this in the last one, and I had this conversation with my 7-year-old earlier, talking about how I'm feeling quite lethargic. I'll tell you what, I really like the brakes now on this. They're just nice. Not sharp, not anything else. They're just comfortable. And inspire confidence, which is good. There's a motorcyclist riding behind me, and I shouldn't really let him just pass. Perhaps he will just pass. Well, he could be out for a Sunday drive, and I'm Saturday ride, and I'm kind of ruining it because I'm just poodling along, rumbling, rattling along. But anyway, what was I saying? Yes, the lethargy. So I'm super tired all the time, and it is just, I just want to close my eyes and go to sleep. And people keep saying to me, oh, is it long COVID? But I don't know if I felt like this before I had COVID. Oh, there he goes. And which you can't begrudge him now, because I'm just barely doing the speed limit. And anyway, so actually I've just thought, and it's the DIY. I've been doing tons of DIY. My joints really hurt, on my hands and knees sanding the floorboards and stuff like that. But, and also this thing about, I've just sanded the floorboards. It's going to take a random segue and it's nothing to do with anything. But I started doing DIY when we moved into this house, because at the last house we'd pretty much done everything and it was all, ready to rock and roll. And what I did was one day I was doing DIY and I messed up my trousers, the t-shirt that I was wearing, the shoes, and the jumper. So they became designated DIY clothes. Just got washed, put in a drawer, and now every time I do DIY, I dig those out. But then when I was doing the floor and I dug it up, and then I sanded it, and there was so much dust and there was so much mess, and then when I took the clothes and the boots off, I just threw them in the bin. And now I'm having this internal debate about how do I decide on the next clothes that I designate as DIY clothes that will no longer be used for anything else and can get messed up. That's including footwear. So I can't go out and buy them, because then why wouldn't you just go out and buy some nice stuff? So I have to look through my existing clothes and work out which ones should be designated DIY clothes or messed up clothes or whatever. I don't know why I said that. That's just something that just occurred to me. The car is, it's not fully warmed up. It's car driving okay, but I'm scared to push it hard. Jack said don't redline it. On the job front, I didn't contact somebody. Well, I did contact somebody and said I've been talking to him quite a lot over the years, so he's always been wanting me to do certain jobs, and I've never really wanted to do it, and so I contacted him and said, look, I am available, and I've had a few conversations since then, and I think there's wheel geometries out, and I'm at that corner where in the 911 I do give it the beans, but I'm just too scared, not in first anyway, and I'm just going, kind of staying below 4,000 RPM. It does sound good. I think it has got some kind of exhaust hack, and it's still along. It's rumbling along, and I'm now like I said on the last video, I'm tempted to get it fixed. But anyway, I did go out in my 911 the other day, and it had been sort of 10 days. I went to that event at Podium Place, and I didn't go out again for 12 days. I hadn't been out in it for 12 days. And you know when you've parked it somewhere, and I said this on the podcast, I parked it 3 blocks away because it means that I can maneuver the other cars around on my driveway, and then it's left there, and then it's in my village. It's in a direction where I have no reason to go because it's school holidays. It's kind of in the direction of the school. So normally I would, real strong manure smell. That's country, village. And I would normally walk down to school, and I'd walk past it every day to pick up, drop off, or pick up my daughters. Whereas now, I haven't been down that way because it's been Easter holidays. So when I went down there, I had to drop my children off at their grandparents. My wife was away overnight in the Audi A3. And you know when you go there and you go, oh, I've got my children with me, I'm going to have to get them strapped in, get all their stuff in, and then it might not start up. Because I used it that once after about 10 days, and then another 12 days later I haven't used it. But it did thankfully fire up, and it was lovely, apart from that initial like knocking kind of thing, which Mark tells me might be the oil pump, and it only does that at the beginning of the day. So when you hear the clicking, I need to use this car more, but at the same time, you know, it's a 2000 model 2.7 Boxster, so it could be IMS, it could be something else, I don't know. I meant to break down the cost of owning this car so far. I'm going to do that in the next video because I've got to go and dig the stuff out, and I haven't got it in a folder. They're just in sort of plastic wallets, and I've got the receipts, and it didn't come with any history apart from it did have sort of 10 years ago, so it would have been 12 years old then. It had a £4,000 engine rebuild, so which is I think probably about 80,000 miles ago. It's got to be more than it, because the last guy who had it was doing like 20,000 miles a year, 19,000 miles a year, so it would have been less than that, but then surely they would have done the timing chain guides then, but they haven't, so I don't know. And also, I want to go to my mum's, which is kind of, sort of, it's really windy, sorry about that, the sound is probably awful, which is about 100 miles away, and I wanted to take this car. So my mum lives in quite a, not a great part of the world, and I suspect it would get slashed, the roof would just get slashed because it's parked there and it probably offends somebody, even though it's worth less than most of the cars in that neighborhood, but it's Porsche, so who knows. Anyway, should I take it on the long run? But it does feel quite say, I don't want to hear about that car again, which I wouldn't blame him for. But I need to get him on the podcast. PJ's coming onto the podcast next as a guest. Brian from Rin Vehicle Design, I want to get him on the podcast. And Magnus, the Magnus. I need to get him on the podcast. Anyway, those are the things that are going on. The next video, I will do that hopefully tomorrow. I'll have the breakdown of the cost of owning this car, of owning the worst Boxster in the world. But inside, it's actually quite nice. I do quite like it now. So that's it for now. Thank you everybody for tuning in, for commenting, for hitting like, for subscribing. It's still a weird thing. Every time I make a video live, I somehow get less subscribers. I don't know what's happening. I think they're like fake accounts or something, and then they get detected by Google and then they remove them. It's a bit like my Instagram. It's not growing, but every now and again I get 2 or 3 and then I lose 2. Oh my god, the smell is so intense. It's beautiful. Countryside is beautiful at the moment. It's coming to the end of April. Everything is lush and green. I think that's rapeseed. It's like the yellow flowers. It looks stunning. Anyway, thank you to everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with me. And thank you for the support on the podcast. And tune in to the next video where it will be the breakdown of the cost of owning this car. I might not be in this car. I might be in the 911. Or I might be on my way to the tip because I've been trying to get rid of a sofa in the Audi. But I will do that breakdown. Thanks for watching.